Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez, coming at you today with Doctor Stuff and talking about terms of service, what Vivi does, community sentiment, and all that jazz. Everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi.
What's up,
Uh,
Dashi?
so let us go and just to kind of, I'm not saying to air out dirty laundry, but to go and say, hey, these are the concerns. This is what Vivi did. These are the concerns that people have. Uh, so some rightful, feeling very, very frustrated, and then talking about uh, why Vivi might have done this, can they do this, going over terms of service, etc. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, I want to get into this. Yeah.
Okay, so on the feed like an hour ago, I was just going to do a video on this, but I saw somebody said like, "Hey, the Matt Groening signature is missing from my homework collectible. Anyone else?" And someone's like, "Yo, I just checked it. I didn't believe it. Thought it was a glitch, but it's on mine too." And someone's like, "This is why I originally bought this because of the signature." And so just there's a loud, probably a minority that is super, super salty. And then there's going to be another loud minority that are people that don't care, but they're going to hop on the FUD train just because that's what they do. And then there's going to be people that maybe might not care as much that just, hey, this, if Vivi did this, can they do this to other collectibles? Should they do this to other collectibles? And then there's people that just, again, are kind of neither here nor there. Um, I read the terms of service again, like as best I could. It states that we cannot change collectibles, we cannot modify them, and we cannot let a third party modify them. But they didn't say anything about Vivi not being able to do that. Like that was left conspicuously absent. Um, what are your thoughts?
Well, I was shocked, uh, and not pleasantly surprised at that change. I mean, look, we have seen Vivi update collectibles and improve them. So, for example, you had that Mermicorno. What was his name? That they
Yeah,
animated. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Right.
Ritmo.
The Tokidoki. Yeah, Ritmo. Yeah, exactly. Right. And people were super stoked on that. They improved it. Right. This is the first time where I have seen them take something away and something very, very important away from a collectible. I know that there were people who purchased this specifically because of that signature. I'm a
Yeah.
huge Simpsons fan, and see Matt Groening's like signature on that. I loved it, man. Like I'm pretty upset, man. I'm pretty upset, and I'll say this: like, if there is a possibility, I don't know how, but like I'm trying to play devil's advocate, and I'm having a hard time doing that, honestly, um, because this signature sat on that golden moment for almost 2 years with no issues. Right now, the Simpsons do this NFT episode; it gets back in the spotlight, and maybe Matt Groening didn't know his signature was on there or something, and then he was like, "Hey, like, how is this approved?" But Disney has to sign off on these
Yeah,
collectibles
wouldn't they have to
before
sign
they're
off on
released.
that to begin with?
Yeah,
Like 2.5 years ago when they started to
yeah.
do it?
That's what I'm saying is like they would have had to have signed off on that. And so that's what I'm saying. I'm having a hard time playing devil's advocate as to what changed for them to remove this and then terrible form to not tell us about that. If there was some issue where it was like, hey, Fox reached out to us or Disney or whoever, right, reached out and requested that remove it, and after discussions, uh, we're going to have to remove this collectible, like that signature. But like that does not happen in the physical space. And I get that this is digital, and that's how like
Yeah.
it's great that you can improve things, but you should never make it worse. That is because now like look, trust is gone because now how do I know that that's not going to happen to something else? Like that they're just going to be like, oh well, the IP said this, and they're going to remove this and remove this. It's like, well, that's why we bought it, though,
Yeah.
and you're taking that away from us. I I am trying to like not just go. like, I mean, I'm trying to choose my words carefully, but I am in shock. I'm in shock at something like this. Like, again, the fact that they removed that signature, which was such an important and integral part of that piece, and then they wouldn't tell us about that. Like, that lack of communication is unacceptable. Like, look, I love Vivi, right? I recently had David Yu on the channel. One of the things that I talked to him about that was so important, I said, you guys need to be transparent and communicate with us.
Wow.
And this is a perfect example. Like, I'm at a loss for words, Randy. Like, what do you got?
So again, trying to be as unbiased, middle of the road as possible. Um, I think this would be something that, yeah, if you had a community manager already, one, it would fall on them. And then say like, that's the purpose of getting someone to go and be your liaison, to go and say like, hey, we'll have this person in here. So this way they hate the person, kind of don't shoot the messenger, but this way the messenger will get all the bad news, they'll get all the bad flack, and maybe not be as angry at the founders. If you look in the terms of service on what they can do and what we agree to as we go on the Vivi app, they're allowed to go and say, hey, we're moving these collectibles to another app. We're moving these collectibles to another place. So I think it's similar to them giving away the sub 41s. They say, hey, we'll never give away those sub 41s. Those are locked up forever. But because the licensors, I think, have 4 or 5 or X amount of them that are sub 40, like 30, 60, 40, whatever they have. The licensors, that's theirs. So Marvel goes and they give away, some comics. They give away the Red Skull. They give away those. So I think that when Vivi says something, okay, that's the exception, not the rule. Just because we can give away sub 41s or we can do a bunch of these stuff in the terms of service, like, ban your account for things that might look like you're trying to circumvent something or might look like you're trying to, like, I bet a bunch of people have used their digital collectibles in their thumbnails. And according to the terms of service, if you use your collectibles to advertise anything that's like not Vivi, to advertise anything that's not like the app, that goes against terms of service. Now, obviously, they do a blind eye because we're not saying, hey, buy our Simpsons underwear or buy these things. It's just something that we're using to try to promote the app on YouTube. So there's a lot of things that they can do. Somebody was saying on Twitter, is like, hey, this would never happen to my physical collectible because they can just, they can't just come to my house and change it. Unfortunately, I think that just in this digital world, they can. Now, that being said, you have a bunch of people that are going to make a huge stink about this. And again, rightfully so. They have a right to be mad. They have a right to go and be upset. Because again, that question looms, what else are they going to do this to? But maybe that silver lining is, oh, okay, we did this without telling them. And they got big mad. And maybe this is a thing that says, oh, they won't do that again. So I'm hoping that this is the people's reaction is enough for Vivi to say like, okay, if we have to do this again, like if for whatever reason the licensor comes out and says this, that we have to change X, Y, and Z, we have to tell them first. Giving people a chance to sell that maybe, before it happens. I mean, what that I feel is a very loose interpretation, and maybe a little bit more giving them too much credit on like, oh, hey, you're comparing it with the sub 41s. But you're obviously a bit more upset and frustrated, understandably. So I kind of want to hear more of the not negative, but feelings. You're representing a bunch of people that feel the same as you.
Yeah, I don't see any positive from this. I don't see anything positive. I really am concerned. I mean, I get that Vivi is going to leave that out because they may need to change things, right? And they have, but it's always been for the betterment of the collectible, right? They've improved the look of it or something. I mean, but like someone talked about taking away the Stan Lee signature or something. Like what can they do if they can do that, right? And not tell anyone about it. And I get that people are like, hey, even if VV had communicated it, like we would be happy. I get it, but you still need that communication. That has to happen, even if it's bad news. That's the transparency of it. And sometimes in business, things happen, and there's nothing that you can do about it because of the IP or the agreements that you have, and maybe you can't go into that level of detail, but you can say, hey, this came up and it's something that we're going to have to do. And yeah, maybe we offer a deal or we do something, but I'm still trying to process this, man. But this is extremely
Not a good look.
upsetting. You can't do that, man. That is a bait and switch. Like I don't know how else to describe that, but you can't just remove something like that was added value and not communicate that, unless again, like that's something that VV had to do contractually because of the IP, but you have to communicate that. And that
Yeah.
just making it disappear, that is wild, Randy.
Yeah.
That is wild. VV, if you were watching this, that is crazy. That's crazy. You can't do that. I mean, obviously you can. You just did, but like,
Yeah.
how do we trust anything that you guys are going to put forward anymore? Like, how do we do that? And I'm called a moon boy all the time, right? And I constantly try. I am very pragmatic in my approach, like at situations like this, with exchanges with Omi or all of these things. But I'm looking at this and saying, this was an iconic part of the Barton Homer piece, and to remove that is absolutely wild. That is, because again, now how can we trust that you're not going to do that? Honestly, when I go to buy something now and I'm thinking, oh, I love this because of XYZ, my next thought is, when are they going to potentially take away XYZ? That was there.
Yeah.
That was the whole reason that I bought it in the first place. That this is crazy. Like I don't like this is not good, Vivi. Like I am, man, I don't have a lot of words except for I am frustrated and completely shocked that they would do something like this and not communicate that. Wow.
So if it now obviously this is upsetting any way you slice it, but how much better would it have been if they said, "Hey guys, this is something that we have to do. This is out of our hands," or maybe they could have fought or they could have given up something to keep that. We're not behind the scenes there, um, but I don't think that this is something that David Dan wanted. It's obviously something that came from the studio. It might not have been Disney. It could have just been Fox themselves, Century 21 Fox. If they went and said they gave us like a 48-hour warning before they did that, how would you have communicated that, and how would that have been different than what we got?
I mean, at some point, like I would think that you offer refunds to everyone who bought that, and it's just at the price that they sold it at, the retail price, maybe not the floor price, or something that they offer to buy that back, because this is not what we bought. It's not what we bought.
Well,
And you could communicate that and saying, hey, unfortunately, like this is out of our hands, and because there are some things that honestly it's out of VV's control, and at least they've said that, right? But then they can also, as a part of community engagement and working with it, is trying to figure something else out to say, hey, we know that this is not going to sit well with people. This is something that was completely out of our control. Here's what we are trying to do for those who are affected by it, right? Who are frustrated by it or something, and at least doing something. But to literally just remove that and just pretend like nothing happened and just wait because someone's obviously going to find it, which they did. That is an even worse look. Like
yeah.
this couldn't have gone worse. The way that they handled all of this, I am blown away. I'm blown away. This is terrible.
Did they have the other signatures that we have? I know we have a Mickey one, and then there's the signatures of the Fantastic Four on the back of their holiday card. Can you remember any others that we have?
Of signatures, there's Donald Duck, right? Has a signature or something. Was it the platinum moment? Wasn't there like a Donald Duck platinum?
Oh, on the poster, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, the poster. I think that there was somewhere with Donald Duck. I remember there being a signature.
I'm gonna check out the holiday card to see if any of the signatures are gone from the back of the holiday card, the season's greetings, because it might not be one thing. Like the Simpsons is super, super popular, the golden moments are a thing. But let's see if we have. Well, there's still
Andy's signature. So like Andy on the bottom of
of
Woody's
Woody,
boot.
right?
What if they
Okay,
remove
so at
that?
least Fantastic Four they still have that there. Let's take a look. Well, I mean, it probably only would be to Fox licenses. So Woody, was that on both of Woody's or just the platinum one?
Oh no, on the OG Woody, the colored one, you had Andy's signature on the bottom of the boot, right?
Yeah. Okay, and that wasn't on the platinum, right?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Um,
So let's take a look at this little guy here. All right, he still got Andy. He still got that. Because somebody said that they trying to check the Stan Lee signature, but it's not loading. I don't know if that is. I mean, I don't have one, and I can't find it on the app. So.
let's see. So which one is the one with the signature, the Stan Lee signature? The Nuff said, the King of Cameos, Excelsior.
I'm not sure.
Hold on, I'm looking. I'm gonna look at these because I let's see.
So I wonder if this came from the studio or if this came from, Matt himself. Like, oh, hey, maybe Matt didn't. Maybe he wasn't sure what NFTs were, and now that's a huge thing. And then the Simpsons episode came back and came out. Maybe he's getting backlash from it. I don't know.
I don't. Still though, man, I'm so like at some point, Vivi's got to put their foot down and say, "You signed off on this, and this is going to completely destroy trust with our community. Can't happen. Can't
And I
happen.
don't.
Sorry."
It's not like Fox is. To my knowledge, I don't think we have a ton of licenses with them. Like I don't think we like. I know we don't have the rest of the Simpsons characters. There's no Marge. There's no Lisa. There's no Maggie. There's none of those guys. So I'm trying to think of how many other licenses we have through them. To see like how. Like okay, well, why bend the knee on this? And then
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who made this decision, but it's a terrible one, and I hope that they reverse it, and that they then put out a statement saying, "Hey, going forward, we're going to make sure with all of our IPs that once something is signed off on, they can't take it back. Can't take it back. You can't do that.
no.
You can't do that."
I don't. So I think I'd invite David on. I think the founders are traveling right now. So I don't know if they'll be available for comment. Maybe that's part of the plan. Oh, maybe this will blow over by the time we get back. I don't know.
It's not gonna blow over. Like, I mean, like, look, the emotion, the initial emotion will, but the loss of trust won't. On that. Like, again, I am someone who I try to see everything from both sides, and I try to say, okay, is this something that I'm still willing to invest in? And right now, I have to pause. I have to pause, man, on my collectible purchases, because if they're going to do things to change it for the worse of the collectible, why would I buy anything? And I don't know what's going to be next, or just on a whim, someone from one of their IPs is going to say, you know what, we didn't really vet it with XYZ, and now they're saying, to take this part away, There's no way. Randy, dude, this is. I mean, when I kind of texted like our group, I'm like, this is a big deal. This is a really big deal because, again, when I purchase something, I am fine if they do something to make it better. I'm like, okay, that's great, right? The remote, great. You animated it. This makes it better. But when you take away something that absolutely people add value to, that is that is, man, like I'm like, again, I'm just like, why should I purchase anything else on this app right now if they can change it and take it away, right? Instead of the big bird golden thing, what if they turned it and made it turquoise?
No,
Because all of a sudden, Sesame Street didn't like gold. I don't know. I can,
no,
this is not good. This is not good,
yeah,
man. And again, I'm trying to measure my words like with more that I like want to say, because again, like I'm a very passionate person and I can let that get over the top. And so, but from an investor standpoint, I have to take a step back and I'm gonna have to think about this. But I would like the Vivi team to literally answer this question: why in the world should we purchase anything else from this app if there's a chance that the things that you have put on there that add value to these collectibles can be taken away on a whim and you won't even tell us about it? We're going to have to find it out ourselves. That is,
yeah. So this is
man, that's scary.
so they've. Well, I guess I got 2 points on that. One, like they've done this before, not without telling us, but when they first started, they had like everything as first edition. Uh, obviously Todd first appearance, but the Becky Cloonan and the Risto and the other one were first edition. And then eventually, so was like a bunch of Harley Quinns, so was a bunch of these things. And then they came out with an article stating like, hey, this is what we're going to do moving forward. We're going to have, the statues be first appearance, art be first edition. And then they went back and retroactively changed a lot of the first editions and first appearances on those
But
collectibles.
there
They
was a
kept a
reason for
couple.
that, though. There was a reason, like there was a logical reason that they broke down and said, "Hey, as as we take a step back and we look at this, it makes sense to itemize them like this, or set, stratify them like in these instances." And um, but this doesn't, like this does not, man. Like, so again, and it's funny, someone saying that like I'm fudding. I'm not. I am concerned. This is a concern of mine. I really am. Like I put a lot of money into this app, and if some of the things um, that they could just on a whim change, and I say on a whim, obviously it wasn't on a whim. No one just decided I'm going to wake up and remove this
Yeah.
signature. Something happened, right? But the fact that an IP after 2 years can decide, if it was the IP, can decide and say, hey, we'd like you to actually remove this. Um, that is not a solid contract you got there, um, and that is concerning to me. I've just, man, this is going to give the fudders a lot of fuel, and I have to stand back and say I agree. Like I'm in that camp of just like this is not something that should ever happen. I,
Yeah.
yeah, I am. I'm shocked, man. I'm still trying to process this. This is wild.
So, yeah. So, I mean, I feel like that risk was always there. Again, in the terms of service, they say, hey, we can go and move this to any platform we want and we do whatever. But now that it's finally real, they're like, oh, they're actually doing it. And now that they're moving to another platform, they're just changing collectibles. And if it was something like they fix Superman's leg, well, that's positive. If they do something like they, put like a crack in a collectible to make it seem like, uh, I mean, it's happened with the green. Remember the green check mark? And for reading comics, where you would have a green check mark if you read it, and
Yes,
then
you remember
and then I
that.
was like, oh, people that have untainted green check mark, untainted comics that don't have that green check mark, that's going to be worth more. And then everybody got into a tizzy, and then they said, okay, we're not going to have the green check marks anymore. I think that if enough people get upset about this, I've always heard maybe it's something they could bring back. Again, I don't know why they would do this. I don't think this is temporary. There was a VV app update the other day for Apple. It was like 1 or 2 days ago. There was none for Android. I don't know if this was it. It took people 36 hours to find, if so. Um, But yeah, I mean, but again, just to reiterate what I said, they've kind of always had the power to shut people's accounts down. They've always had the power to go and change things. But that didn't stop you from investing before. Is now they're taking that to exercise one of their rights, to do this. Is that kind of the straw that kind of broke your back a little bit?
Well, my thing is this: closing accounts, there always has to be justification. I understand that banks do that all the time. Well, not all the time, but they do it. But they have to have strong support for it, right? So if VB is doing that, if they've identified suspicious activity, they have the right to freeze that account. That all makes sense to me. And yet you're right that, like, I mean, look, I am pretty meticulous about reading agreements and understanding legalese, and I understand that that's missing from it, but I guess I never thought that they would do something that would make a collectible worse off than it was when you purchased it. Because it doesn't make any sense to do that. So up until now, and it's an assumption. It was an assumption that I made that wouldn't happen to the detriment of a collectible, only the betterment of a collectible. And so now that I'm seeing that there's a possibility that they can change one of our collectibles that we purchased, and some of us purchased specifically for certain aspects, that they can now erase that. Again, I said I have to take a step back and think about that and say, am I still willing to purchase things that might be removed later on?
Wow.
And right now, again, just off the top of my head, the answer is no. Why would I do that? Why would I purchase something and spend my money on something there's a difference between, like, oh man,
So
yeah,
what is the
like there's a
likelihood?
difference between a lot of editions or like, but go ahead.
What do you think is the likelihood that they do this again? Like, clearly people are big mad and they're salty, and I feel like, okay, yes, Vivi, you could do this again at your own peril. I don't know how many people.
Oh,
I mean, some
wait
people.
a second. Wait a second.
So,
Someone just said that the signature is back.
are you kidding me?
Stop
Yeah.
it.
Also, I don't remember
I'm
the
checking
Ultimates. I don't know what this is in reference to. I got Homer
I'm
Simpson
checking
here.
right now. Yep, I'm
I
pulling
do
up
not see it.
mine.
No, no, I don't. I didn't buy this. This is on the market, but
So no, I'm gonna pull up mine that I own.
okay.
Let's see. Oh my gosh, bro. It's back.
So Alex goes and posts texture mapping was covering the signature. Apparently, iOS has been updated. Android in progress. Apologies for the confusion.
Bro.
Wow.
Bro.
So no wonder you have an Apple, right?
Yeah, I have an Apple.
So that's why it's showing up on yours and not on mine, because iOS was updated, Android was in progress. So yeah, maybe that's what the Android or the Apple got the update a few days ago. That was it. Oof. All right. Well, we're gonna take Alex here and we're gonna retweet him and false alarm guys. Hashtag Vivi wouldn't do us dirty like that. You want me to delete this podcast?
Do you see Tommy? You gotta look at Tommy Vesper's comment,
Wait.
man. No, this other one. Oh my
Hold on.
gosh, dude. Dude, that is funny, man. That is funny. I was tripping. I was tripping. Oh my gosh. Oh my
So
gosh. I
I'm
can't
pretty
even.
sure that
I can't even.
my application that I put in to be Vivi's community manager has officially been flushed down the toilet. So I did that for a grand total of 22 doll hairs. Good
Oh
times.
my gosh, dude. Oh my gosh, bro. Seriously, I like. Well, here's the good news. Right now, now VV knows what will happen if they did something like this. Honestly, oh my gosh, man. Oh man, I just, I'm trying to bring myself back down now. I mean, okay, so the texture mapping, uh, interesting. I would love like a better understanding or a better explanation of how that can happen. Like what happened, what texture mapping changed to then cover that up. Uh, so yeah, look, Fudders are gonna say they're gonna say like, oh, they got caught red-handed, and now they're trying to backtrack. I'm not gonna go that far. Like there's I do dude, I need to go to bed, man. Just so much adrenaline just rushed through me. I'm gonna be collapse after this. But uh look, again, I'm willing to call a spade, right? Like as I just showed you, I was able to. That being said, I don't think that they're going to do something like that, remove it, and then be like, oh, actually, it was just texture mapping. No, like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't believe that. But I would like a better understanding of how that texture mapping, how that occurs. What happened for the texture mapping to cover that up or to cover that signature, and yeah, like I would like a better explanation as to how that works. Um, well, look, when you say everyone is quick to FUD, absolutely. I mean,
Uh,
what else are we supposed to think? Like, you know, you bet, Tommy, absolutely. Uh, but again, I am not one who's quick to. I take a step back and look at that, and that as I was processing, I was trying to think of what are the reasons that this could happen. Texture mapping was not one of them.
yeah, I'm not
You
that
know,
technically inclined.
yeah, me either. Like I'm not, I'm not a 3D artist or like a dev, or I don't know what technicality that was that could cause that. But again, I think that it would be great if they provided a little bit more explanation as to the texture mapping or why, and can this happen in the future to something else? Like, is there like during updates or something, the texture mapping changes, and that can change. Uh, yeah, I think that. Um, Atomic, appreciate you. That's amazing.
So now I know why Futter's going with those clickbait titles on. I had 124 people here, and they're just super chat. I know why they do it now. I know why. Okay.
Look, I
One of the
love that
comments.
Wes is saying I got riled up for nothing. Like Wes wasn't riled up too. Come on now, Wes. Everyone was riled up, and we were rightfully so riled up with that, right? Um,
So there's somebody they're trolling on Twitter like, I don't think that's the same signature. Can we get a side by side of the old one?
that's so funny. That's funny. Um,
I was waiting for them to go down, but I looked and they didn't go. I guess somebody sold for 88. For me, it never left 99 gems. I was waiting
I
for
was
them
gonna
to go
say
down like
that's
20
not
bucks.
super. That's not a lot lower than the floor. I mean, what was that like 10% off
Yeah,
basically? Uh, Years of my life. Look, I lost my hair because of that, right? Like I'm freaking
same.
bald now. Um, it's funny. I have been pretty bullish, and like I feel like there's a lot of potential with Vivi, and especially the Omi token and what I see coming. But this was a big deal because I'm like there's no way that the masses are going to feel comfortable as they come into the the store. They find VV Twitter, and all of a sudden people are like, hey, just so you know, you buy something that they can alter it for the worse, and here's this example.
Mm.
um I think that would scare a lot of people away, and so that's I was trying to process all of that, and that's why I was honest with people. I have always said that I will be honest with these things, right? And I just this was a very very big deal. I'm super extremely glad that it was this texture mapping thing, and that wasn't something that the IP had decided and that VV couldn't say no to, because that would have been a big red flag for me. It absolutely would have. So, man, just like, you know what, Randy? I'm going to just give me 5 minutes. I'll be back. I just got to decompress. I'll be right back.
Okay. No more David Yu interviews for me. you might be right. He might not come on now. And again, guys, I do not believe that I am getting that community manager position. Again, when I put this on, and you could go watch the whole interview, 35 minutes. It was never to bash. It was like, hey, let's go read the terms of service. And I'm literally going and saying why VV could do this. I'm not saying that it would have been right, but I literally had them all lined up. Oh, you can't see that. But I literally had them all lined up. And I was like, oh, boom, 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 boom. So be advised, guys, that for any changes in our collectibles, we cannot modify them. A third party cannot modify them. But it doesn't say in the terms of service that VV can't, or Disney, or whoever the licensor is can't. So this likely could happen in the future. And now, obviously, VV's done this before, where they go and they take Ritmo, who's static, and they make him nay, and they always do it for the better. So, now getting it all out now, what they can and can't do. It's not back yet. It's only back for Apple users right now. The Android ones they'll be working on. They're working on it right now. Yeah. But again, it's only for Apple users right now. The signature's back. Yeah, Doc was, he was nettled. I don't have near true long-term holder. Nerves of steel. VV for president. No, I never panic. My signature is back to normal. Yep. Oh, Brit
Okay.
Good. Just have a quick shot.
I got some water. Just took some deep breaths. Wes saying I was acting like the world was ending. It was Wes. That would have been a big deal, man. I'm telling you right now, that was wow. If there was something that would have really stopped me from purchasing anything more from the app, that probably would have been it. Honestly.
Damn. So that.
Yeah. I mean, because look, if you purchase something and then someone goes in and basically without, I mean, obviously I understand the terms of service, but that is a risk. That is a risk. And that's where I was saying, look, okay, if that risk is there where they can reach in and basically change my collectible for the worse, that's not something that I think that I can be okay with going forward, Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like I was very justified in with the information that we had. And obviously, like with YouTube and trying to get this out, it was trying to address this and talk with community. And we saw a ton of people, including Wes, bro, and your texts there and comments underneath. But like, I mean, fine, whatever, I'll own it. Yeah. Was I kind of, was I worried? Like I was worried at that point in time. And I feel like every one of you should have been worried if that was the case. If they could go in and make your collectible, take away something that added value, if they could take that away without any reason, that's a big concern. That would be a big concern for me. So I am passionate about VV. I love VV. .Conic, I spent so much money on VV and Omi because I believe in it, right? And this was the first thing that shook me, man, that I was like, wow, it's not okay. It's not okay. So
should I go back and take screenshots of everyone saying they don't trust the team? And be like, oh, people that
No, it's not that they just bought it for the signature. But look, I am a huge Simpsons fan. And for me, that was a big deal. Like that made that much more special. And when they took that away, when they took a signature away of Matt Groening from The Simpsons, that's like taking Stan Lee's signature away from the Stan Lee collectible. Like like, so yeah, like I cared about that, Wes, and I won't be shy about that, and I'm not gonna sit there and back away from the position I took, and I'll still take it. If DC did the same thing, if they're, or Todd McFarlane, if he took away his signature from Batman Year 2, Folsom, that went away, I would be pissed. I would be pissed, and I would say, look, if you're going to take away something that I believe added value to that, how can I trust putting any more money into something? Because it could change. It could change. So you should all be concerned if that were to ever happen. Now, again, there's a difference, right? Of when they make something better, that's great. I'm always down for that, right? Making it better. Like, for example, if it didn't have the signature and then they added this signature, I would be down for that. But doing the reverse, not so much. So.
Well, this happened to be and this is also why I wanted to go live as well, because I knew there would be footers in other places going and absolutely ripping Vivi a new one. And I wanted to have that like kind of honest take of like, okay, yeah, they messed up, but let's see, let's play all these dominoes out. And and thankfully we had thankfully there was no need to go down. Well, I mean, it was good to go down those rabbit holes to see, what was there. And also good to read the terms of service. I bet you most people have not read those terms of service. So it was good to know that.
Graining. You know what? G Money, my bad. You're right. Okay. It is graining. And I'm not thinking straight. I am a huge Simpsons fan. You're not that guy. That is amazing. I hate to be that guy. Anyways, Wes is funny, man. All right, cool cat, Wes. You never once were concerned about anything, despite your comments saying that this isn't a good look. Let's see, but I thought you could modify an NFT, so you said that. See all your other comments, Wes.
Yeah, let's go back. Call me Hillary Duff. Let's go back to the beginning.
Deletes him, right? Let's see what he says.
Yeah.
Not a good look getting rid of. Well, he said Matt Gondek, so maybe he didn't care, right? He definitely didn't buy it for the signature because he couldn't even get the right Matt correct on that one, right? Not a good look getting rid of Matt Gondek's signature from the Simpsons collectible and not even telling us. But I thought you couldn't modify an NFT, so I don't know, Wes. Oh, what's this WTF angry face comment there?
We got receipts, Wes.
We got receipts, Wes.
Wes goes around saying this is bullshit.
That's funny.
Dude, Wes don't ever change, man.
I love it, man. You never know what you're going to get with Wes. I honestly, I'm like, he'll say something, I'm like, I did not see that coming.
Dude, they punked us, bro.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well,
I got to change the title of this. How do I change? I'll change the title after we're done.
I think you can edit it. I
can change this. I can't edit. Yeah. Oh, can I edit it right now? Oh, I can edit it right now. Okay.
Yeah, I think you can in StreamYard.
Okay, hang on. Okay, VV.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna put VV scare? VV collectible scare? No. What should the title be? VV gives us a scare. They give us a fright.
Yeah.
VV gives us. Oh God.
Oh, Millie T saying, I still don't trust him. We have renting rights with these, and that's it. Look, to a certain extent, I agree, oh, Millie. Like these are in their app. It's a walled garden. We can't put these in our non-custodial wallet. And like I know that risk, right? And that's why when I had David you on the channel, I tried to clarify, because shout out to Lori Brenner, right? Queen Vivi with her Queen's Court, when she asked David about what happens, in the crazy scenario in which VV isn't around anymore, what happens to our NFTs? And David had answered and said, well, with the artist NFTs, you'll be able to, we'll make it a way for you to bridge them, or, you'll be able to get access to them. Probably somehow like Recur did, right? With their NFTs. But he only said that specifically with the independent artists. And I was like, yeah, but like, what about all of the major IP? And he basically said that the IP will have the first right of refusal, basically, right? Where they will be able to, if they want spin up their own servers and do it, host them and keep them onboarded like that. And then if not, then we could have access to them. But so like I agree that is a risk for me, but it's a risk overall that I was willing to take because I didn't up until tonight for a hot minute there. I thought that, obviously they want to do right by the community because that's what keeps them in business. If they lose the trust of the community, then they don't have a business anymore. So I think that like aligned interest is what continues to make, me purchase things on the app and purchase the Omi token is because of those things. So, but I feel you, Millie. But you know what? Like, I mean, I had recur NFTs, and look what still happened. Right? I could sell them on ETH. I could do all those things, and it still rugged me. And I had more than renting rights with that. So there's no guarantee on any of it, right? To be honest, like, so.
And that's why I'm not like, I understand people want to self custody. Some people just want to do that, but other people, I feel like, are under this notion that, oh, if we can sell them on OpenSea, if we can sell, they'll be worth more. But you have Hero that's interoperable, you have Recur that's interoperable, you have a couple places. I think Top McFarlane stuff is interoperable, and it doesn't help the price. I think really the only thing that really helps the price is just adoption and passion and community. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't get interoperability. Even if we get it, I'm likely going to keep my stuff on the app just because I have, I get MCP points for it. I get certain things for it. So
I do think that if VV and if VV's collectibles were like, there's those images, those 3D images, when they first launched, if they were interoperable, I think that we could have seen some pretty massive highs just during the NFT craze, But to make them interoperable afterwards, or like right now, I still think that we would still get more people that would purchase them. I really do. And so you would have a little bit more liquidity, which would always help the price there. But would they go crazy? Would they be like Bored Apes? Like I don't know, because ultimately, part of like the use case of VV collectibles is to be able to see them in like AR, and you wouldn't be able to do that in a non-custodial wallet, right? You got to bring it back to the app there for that to be used. But I don't know, like it's always tough to say like, okay, well, what if this is what would happen if this would have happened? Those are just it's all conjecture and who knows. But I would say, taking a step back, the more liquidity that you have, because Todd McFarlane, he does have his own base, but like, okay, then I'll give you an example. There was a guy when Mickey Mouse, like the Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse NFT came out. This was in December of 21.
Yeah.
One of the main Bored Ape holders was like, I will trade a Bored Ape for the first ever Mickey Mouse NFT. And then everyone was like, oh, it's not, because, like you can't have it on a cold wallet. It's not interoperable and stuff like that. And then he backed down from it. Yeah. But that to me says a lot about someone who's like, I mean, and at the time, Bored Apes were worth like $500,000, and he's like, I'm willing to trade one for this. I mean, I think that they recognize the importance of it, but also having that ability to actually completely own your asset is something that Web3 and a lot of the crypto OGs, that's the ethos of Web3. So I get why like they're not really into it, and there will be some who, if VV NFTs are never interoperable, you won't get that contingent. But VV doesn't need that contingent. Would it be great to have them? Yes, but they don't need them.
Yeah. I've said it before. VV does not need OpenSea. OpenSea needs VV. VV will likely outlast. And Bruce, be advised, for people that are just getting here, it was just a textile issue. The signature never went away. They just happen to have part of it that was covering it. It's fixed on the Apple phone right now. They're working on the Android. Again, for people that are just here, or that just got here.
Yeah, so I got it again for people who want to see. You got the signature there. So it is back on the app. So,
is there a TM at the bottom now?
well, let me check. I just clicked out of it, but let me see.
Because if there's a TM, then they might have added
TM and 20th television. So maybe when they added the TM, that texturing of the TM changed it.
Yeah.
I don't know, because let me see. AP Bulldogs, you've got these people who. Oh yeah, it didn't initially.
Didn't have the TM,
It,
right?
it didn't have the
Hey,
TM
Lori.
or 20th television. It didn't have that either.
Okay.
So they added that, and maybe when they added that, whatever layer they had on there, right?
That's
Because
what
a lot of this is
covered it.
layering.
Yeah.
Then it could. Again, I would love to have like a little bit more detailed explanation saying, hey, here's what happened. And also something that they could say like, hey, like we won't be, taking away something from a collectible. I would love for them to make a statement about that. That would be great.
Yeah. So I mean, so they are adding something. So they kept the signature and then they just added that, which I don't think that takes away from the signature. I don't really think that takes away from the value. Again, adding stuff is mostly, I think, okay. I don't know. Can you think of a con or think of a negative about them adding that?
No,
Yeah.
no, I can't think of a con to the trademark or the 20th century. It's part of 20th Century Fox's IP. So I feel like that it adds to it as like a more official, like
Yeah.
20th Century Fox is, on board with this. So that was always there. I mean, in the picture that I'm seeing with the signature of the person who is like, this is a before and after shot.
Oh, can you share that?
It's on Sergio's. Go to Sergio's.
No. Okay, hang on.
Yeah, I'll bet you when they put that 20th century TM, because that
Yeah,
was
that's
not there
what hit
before.
it.
Because I'm like I said, I'm looking at Sergio's post of the before and after, and that matte graining does not have a TM anywhere on it, and now it does. So, and even Sergio's post says, like, did you want me to share? I can share my screen. Sorry. Do you want me
I'm
to?
reading it now. He might have just gone to bed. I'd really like for him to make a correction, because it just says VV removed Simpsons creator Matt Groening's signature from the base of Homer. VV has replaced his signature with it. So I really would like for him to make a correction on that, or at least quote it. But again, he might have just gone to bed and be like, I'll deal with this in the morning.
Yeah.
And Sergio is a guy that he reports on a lot of different NFT projects. He goes on and he puts like he's known for like breaking news, and then he puts what's going on, and then he tags a bunch of people underneath it so people see it. Yeah, that's what we're talking
Yeah. Steven says, "Do a space. YouTube sucks." That's funny.
What
Just
Steven said?
commenting on our uh, the fact that we're doing this on YouTube, and he's like, "Do a space instead," because YouTube doesn't like YouTube. That's funny.
Nah, we I don't know. I feel like spaces. There's always. Oh, I see, Steven. I feel like with spaces, it always gets kind of like super crowded, and I mean, uh, you could record spaces, but like, how many people listen to old spaces? I feel like not a ton.
I do. I
Yeah.
have, but I definitely had go way. I feel like it's like way more out of my way to go listen to a space because you're like, okay, well, who hosted it, and so then you got to know that, and then you got to go in and be. So it's tougher to find. But I just listened to a space and I tweeted out the space. It was Neo Tokyo, where they interviewed one of the projects that about that I talk about a lot is cornucopias. And
Yeah.
so they became a first citizen of Neo Tokyo, and Neo Tokyo News was doing an interview with them. It was an excellent, excellent interview. But it's one of the games that I feel like that's a game that I look for the projects that I'm like, you know what? I would play this a lot. I would absolutely get lost in this world, and I would play this. And Cornucopias is definitely one of, um, man, I know, guys. I'm sorry. I just kept thinking. I was just like, this is wild. And the more I thought about it, I was just like, I don't know. I don't know how I can continue to purchase things on this app, which was mind blowing. Because man, like how many Futter battles have I fought where I'm just like, look, man, I just don't feel the same way as you, and here's why. But this one, I was like, I got nothing, and not only like do I not have nothing, but this is on something that I think is a big deal, and I have nothing. So
Would you
definitely,
have sold your Omi?
I mean, yeah, like I probably would have, Randy, because Omi is the reason I believe in Omi is because I believe that there's going to be great utility that people will want to use it with the app. It's supposed to be used in tandem with the app. And if I no longer
Yeah.
believe in the app because the collectibles could be devalued at any time by taking away stuff, I think I would have. I think I would have at that point. I would have been like,
Wow.
yeah, like that. That's why I was really worked up, man. That was kind of panic mode for me to see something like that where I'm like, you can just without announcing anything take away something that actually adds significant value to a piece. What's to stop you from doing that in the future? And man, if people can't trust what they're buying, I mean, like I'm trying to think of like honestly an example of that, like in real life, and it would be just like Gorillionaire was saying, like I buy this, you know, Joker variant, right? And like it's got my mint number on it and everything. And then like I come back and someone's at my door and they're like, oh, like they just barge in and they just like scrape off the mint number and then walk away. I'd be like, yo, you can't do that. And um and I get that it's digital and I get the terms of service. And that's where I would say, well, okay, if that's the terms of service and that's how you guys are gonna play, then like I can't see why anyone would want to put money into this if they can't trust what they're buying, unless it's improved. So that was my concern, and that's why the temperature was rising, and I was getting like pretty worked up because I was like, wow, I never saw this coming. I just didn't ever think that any platform would ever do something like that, and for them to do this is a big deal. And I wanted the community to know. I always try to shoot straight with people. And again, it's funny because, on instances like this, right, the fighters are all like, oh, yeah, go doctor stuff, blah, 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 right? But then on the flip side, when I'm like saying something and I'm bringing up something they don't agree with, all of a sudden I'm a moon boy and I'm an idiot. And so it's fun. And I don't care. I'm going to say it how I see it and how I believe it. And I'm just doing it for me. Whether or not people want to do what I do, like that's not the point. It's for me to say this is what I'm doing. And again, I'm a financial analyst. Like I look at these type of things. I've evaluated so many different Web3 projects, and I am extremely bullish on Vivi. But this was something that I was just like, this is not good. So again, really glad that it was a texture mapping thing. And it's funny because the fudders are going to they're not going to believe it, right? They're going to want to see what they want to see. But I was willing to say in this instance, I'm going to take away everything that I've said because I'm always constantly assessing a project. And when they do something like this, that's when I was saying I'm taking this assessment right now and I'm trying to figure out what a reasonable explanation could be, and I can't come up with anything. This is really concerning to me, right? Like I will always be honest about a project. I will always do that. I tried my best to not have blinders on, and this would have been a big deal. And like I said, I probably would have had to have sold my Only, because I would just been like, well, what's the use case of the Only if I can't trust that the collectibles I might use to my Only to buy can be changed at any moment. So I do think it would be great if the VV team kind of put out a statement just addressing it a little bit more formally. Like what Alex did was great, but also something saying like, hey, like we're not
Yeah.
going to change your collectibles to the detriment of something, like we wouldn't do that. Like,
Yeah, I mean, also when Alex did that, he didn't post out in like an official tweet. The VV account didn't post out an official tweet. Alex had posted a tweet, one, two, three, four responses down from a tweet that's now deleted. Luckily, we all screenshotted and we shared that, and then um, which is fine. But yeah, I think someone from the official VV account probably should go and do that. Um, it's also how obviously they all are insanely busy, like incredibly busy, but they should probably have someone that just keeps their ear to the community, that will go and just have a that can make a quick response, just a tweet. They don't have to do anything crazy, like, hey guys, this is happening, and that's it.
yeah, yeah. I look. That's what I think. Vivi has it right with getting a community manager. I think that will be one of the roles of the community manager.
uh,
And I'll tell you what, I got some pretty thick skin. I don't know if I could ever be like the VV community
oh, I'd
manager,
love it if
man.
you're a community manager.
No,
That'd
no,
be
no,
great.
no. Like, no, no, I am not the person for that at all.
Why not?
And that's because, man, so I've been a ref before, right? I ref soccer, and it's like you can't do anything right. You could call a game
No.
perfectly, and people hate you. Someone's gonna hate you, and like I like that. I'm like, life's too short to deal with all that shite. I am constantly DMing, not just like the VB team, but other projects that I'm in when there's a ton of FUD. And I'm just like, hey, just so you know, I really appreciate what you do. Right. And I'm thankful for this. And like, man, I don't know how you guys do it day in and day out, just dealing with the shite of these keyboard warriors that are there just to constantly attack and to tear people down. It's what a sad life that is, to be honest with you, like, but that's why I love VV so much. And some of these other projects, it's like any project that you can leave, but you can't leave it alone. That's those are the projects I'm very interested in, right? And people can leave VV, but they can't leave it alone
Yeah.
because there's something that like draws them back to say like I have to prove that I was right in leaving, and they have to continue to go back because they see all these other things and people are excited and enjoying the community, and they're outside of that and they can't stand that, so they have to constantly go and tear it down. It's so funny, like I said, like there are projects that I've been completely rugged on. Freaking Recur, I've got Recur passes. I wasn't in Recur spaces even when they were winding down. In Recur spaces, I wasn't on there being like, you guys rugged us and all you guys who bought Recur passes are idiots and blah 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 blah, and like it's just like, look, I'm an adult. I made these decisions. Things happen, and that sucks. And on to the next one, And I'm constantly looking for things that improve my life, and good investments or good opportunities. And I do enjoy this community, and that's one of the things. Like Randy, like I said, like meeting you in real life was so fun, and meeting the VV fam in real life at DCon. My buddies were just like, dude, you are so in your element right now. I'm like, because I have been interacting with these people via Twitter for like 2 years now. And to finally see them face to face and be able to give them a freaking hug and just be like, man, like, I feel like I've known you for so long. And just to see that, like, I love that. And that's what this community is. And so all of that was running through my head as I'm just like, what's happening with Vivi right now? So like, yeah, like I was heated. I was heated.
So to go back to when you said you would sell your Omi because then you say like, oh well, what is the point of buying collectibles that they could get they could then change? I feel like yes, it would have been an issue, but also people still would have bought. Like there's a quote from Avengers Endgame where Thanos says, he's gonna wipe out all of life, not just half of it. A new grateful universe. And Captain America says, born out of blood. And then Thanos says, but they'll never know it. A universe knows not that what was taken from them, only what they've been given. So I feel like a lot of newer people would be like, I never knew this had a signature. I don't care. And, they'd still buy. And obviously this would have been a blemish, probably a big blemish on VV's record. But again, obviously people would have moved past that eventually. Again, in my opinion, thankfully they didn't do this
until they did it again.
Mm.
Like that's the thing, right? If they did it and then they were just like, nope, we meant to do that, then what would stop them from doing it again? And that was my thing. It wasn't just this instance. It was like the possibility that could happen again in the future to something. And while I agree with you. I think that there would be some people who just continue to purchase, and that's okay. And that's my thing, right? I'm not going to go believe like, oh, you guys are crazy. Why are you buying this? Just because I don't agree with it. I'd have been like, look, I hope that you guys are happy, and I would still like. There's still some collectibles I wouldn't sell. I freaking love my DeLoreans. I love my DeLoreans, and man, I hope we get Wolverine. I will, I'm gonna get so many stinking Wolverines. I'm glad they haven't done it yet because I still need to throw more money at projects before the complete bull run. But so like yeah, I'd never tear someone down for wanting to stay. But for me and my thesis on why I had put money and continue to put money into VV and Omi, I feel like that would have been ruined the instant that they like took something away from a collectible that added value to it intentionally. Yeah. Hey Tammy, big hug. Absolutely. Big hug. I love it.
And you're not going to France, are you? Or Dubai?
No, man. I was trying to get my so check this out actually. Like no joke. Like I'm super serious about trying to like
You don't have your passport?
This passport renewal. I have a passport. It's expired.
You gotta keep that updated.
Bro. I've been traveling so much for work that I've just like and we traveled a lot, right? My wife and I did that trip around the world. Then we've been to Costa Rica, we've been to Canada, we've been to well, Iceland, Spain, and Scotland, like all over the place, man. So like, but with kids, like with two, so with one kid, it was more doable. But with two kids, that becomes a pain. It's not even about the cost. It's just like the logistics of you gotta get car seats when you rent a car and where can you even travel and then like naps and stuff like that. It becomes tougher to try to even just keep up. But like so this was the first thing in years that I was like, man, I really want to go to that. But I once they announced that Decon was coming to Vegas, I was like, BB will probably show up at that Vegas thing, and that's a lot closer. And so I can use that money that I would have spent on France to buy additional tokens that I'm bullish on that are out of the spotlights, like additional Omi right now, and gone from there.
Dude, if Omi goes lower, I'm good. I have a decent payday coming in like a week, maybe less. If Omi goes lower, I'm in. I'm getting it all, well, as much as I can. And then we'll have I don't know, that France and Dubai trip's gonna cost a lot.
It is.
All right, so we have a couple of people talking about the changing collectibles. So Mugori does not want them changing it at all, which be advised, Mugori, they've changed multiple collectibles. Most people are pretty set on it's for the better, that they changed it for good. They animated stuff, they fixed things. Jeremy's got a thing where he says like, oh, you should have people decide if they want to upgrade or not, like give them that option. If they do, burn it. I feel like that might be a little confusing because then how do you know which one you're buying on secondary?
use the burn function and give people a choice whether to upgrade it or not. I agree with that, right? Because some of the things that make real life collectibles more valuable are mistakes.
Yeah.
So remember, like the penguin, they spelled Brian Boland's name wrong. They had Brian Bullard instead of Brian Boland on there. I don't know
I
if
do
you
not
remember
remember
that.
that.
Yeah, and so, but it was on the description portion of the collectible, as you know who the artist was. It was like Brian, and it said Brian Bullard instead of Brian Boland, and people love that. And actually, people were like buying that because they're like, this is an error, and then they fixed it. So like, I agree. I mean, I think I am more like, so I'm Mugori. I get it. I get it. It's just like you shouldn't be able to change the collectible at all. Um, and I guess I don't mind it if it's to the improvement. I can understand that some people would mind it. So I get that too, right? And I do like the idea of putting it in the choice of the owner, like, hey, if you guys want to upgrade this, um, and I don't know with the contracts if there is something where uh the IP can come back and be like, yes, even though we signed off on this, obviously this was an oversight, and we have to give credit to the artist and spell his name correctly. And because it is something we can change, we want you to change it. Which with physicals, they can't necessarily do that. But I agree. I would love that. I would love some of the errors, right? I think that Nectra or Enectra. I hope that they never change her. It's so terrible. I just love it, and she's just become a part of the VV lore, But they could upgrade her. But I love if they decided to do that to give people a choice and to talk to the IPs and maybe bring this up in meetings with IPs and be like, hey, like there's a community that have said like we actually just want it the way it is. Like with those mistakes, we feel like it's more valuable. You want us to change it, can we give them the choice? Because then that also um, could add additional value because there might be people who want the upgrade and then people who don't want the upgrade.
Yeah. There's
Hey, and shout out to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is awesome.
yeah.
Just like shout out to you. I just had to make a point of that, Doctor. Appreciate
Yeah,
you.
he's a
Appreciate you.
cool dude.
He
I got to
is.
see him at New York Comic Con.
That's awesome.
Good lad. There's a oh god, I was about to say something, completely forget what it was. Getting old. I've been up for a while, so I haven't ripping pasta. Um, and I hate that. I felt like I had something decent to say. Oh well, let's move on.
It'll come back to you. It'll come back to you. But Mugori, I agree. I agree that yeah, I think that you should have a choice. I think you should. I think it would be cool if Phoebe did that. If they were saying, "Hey, we plan to upgrade some of these collectibles," and the owners right now they have a choice, and you have a time frame, like you have a week to decide. And if people aren't there, they don't get the notice. Too bad. It is that it gets automatically upgraded unless you choose not to, and like allow that. But again, that's going to depend a lot on the contracts, which I don't know. Right? There's certain things that would have to be negotiated, and which are probably already in there. They'd have to wait for renewal, or do something about it. So
Yeah, that also might be hard to have it. Let's say in the VV verse when they have an upgraded version and not upgraded, and they have to render both. It gets kind of annoying.
yeah, yeah, but the thing is I think that they would cover those costs by the trading that happened, because I think that there would be actually more movement between the two pieces, because now instead of having 10,000 collectibles, right, maybe half chooses to keep it downgraded or at that grade, and then half keep it upgraded, and there would be trading and price like increases or fluctuations between that, where they would because they did that, they would actually make more money off of that collectible because of that, which might cover the cost of the rendering. Maybe not, but something to think about the economics with.
So I remember the Bat Cowls. They had merch come out recently. That had to come out a couple times. The
I
first time
I purchased the merch, dude. I
did
have it.
so you got. I'm guessing like most
All
people did the wrong merch, right?
correct. Well,
So
It's like I didn't get the Marvel tag. That was funny. That was amazing.
See, I want that. Like that's
Me too. I would.
hysterical.
Oh, that actually could be worth something.
Yes, and
Literally.
that's why I want it.
Yeah. To have
People are
the
big mad, but
I would have kept, and I would have been like, I'm not mad about that. But the only things that I got was okay. I paid like $40 for this T-shirt. Okay, $40. I like, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's $25, but like a $25 T-shirt that should be pretty high quality, man. And this thing was like, it's paper thin. I mean, I could hold it up to the light and freaking, it is thin, and the the print on it was blurred. Like it was bad. It was so bad, and I'm like, I can't believe that DC signed off on this. This seemed like so like an afterthought of like, oh, let's for utility, let's do this merch thing, and hey, you intern, you try to string it together. Like I'm like, I would pay a premium for. Okay, let's back up a little bit. So with the Jermaine Rogers NFT, where you also got the shirt, right?
mhm.
I love that shirt. I wear it all the freaking time, and it is one of the nicest shirts I have ever owned. Like the material is amazing. It's thick, it's nice. It is a really nice shirt. And you know what? I paid a lot of money for that NFT and that t-shirt. And the ironic thing is I absolutely would pay a premium for a Bat Cowls merch that was really, really nice. And that's what I thought I was getting.
Yeah.
And so when I got that, and I was like, literally, I could go to a print shop and make this, pay less, and get better. Like, this is embarrassing, so embarrassing. Do better, DC, on that. And so they sent me a reprint, and it is like a nicer print, but the t-shirt is still just as thin, and even the hoodie, I was just like, this is not like, it is embarrassing. Like, I'm gonna give it away to someone, because I mean, I'll keep one of them just because, but it's terrible. Whereas I should be proud to wear that and be like, man, this is really nice, and I should get compliments on it. And I don't feel like it's that quality.
There is a couple people like I don't know if she mentioned this, but I think she did. Steph spent part of Thanksgiving with her, and I asked her about it. She's like, "That made me sell my cow." I was like, "Really?" And she's like one of the biggest proponents of that. Do you think that part of the reason why it seemed like nobody gave a heck on the DC back cow side is because hey, they're on Candy Digital now, and it's like we're going this way anyway, and it doesn't matter. Um, do you also feel like that is a sinking ship, as was Reeker?
I don't think it's a sinking ship just yet. I will say I'm still really bullish on the comics. Like, I love the DC 3. Like, um, so I'm definitely buying those. And they're doing the Riddler. They're doing the drop on Thursday for the F8 Riddler, which is a big deal. And I'm gonna try to get two of those. But I am, look, okay. Let's back up a little bit. When I bought the Bat Cowl, and I bought several of them.
Hmm.
I think I bought six. I think I sold one. So I think I have five now. And I sold one a while ago. But I said, man, for $300, what they are promising utility wise is insane. It's insane for $300. And so I will say this: of all of the utility I've gotten to this point, I'm not gonna fud or complain, or like, they did promise us. There's a lot of things that they promised. They were like, what did they say? What was the term? That we were the crown jewel. Like the Bat Cowl was the crown jewel of everything that they had moving forward. Um, But I feel like there was a lot of utility that I got from that one collectible. I mean, I guess 5 collectibles, right? Like I got some NFTs of the Batcal Legacy for the comic, which is awesome. There's a
Yeah.
chance that might get printed into canon and things. So I don't have a lot to complain about with the utility I've gotten up to this point. Um, Now I get that people are like, well, they still promise us more, and I'm like, I got to be realistic. Like they're not money's not changing hands, or these things aren't trading and selling. They're not making more money. So this is just like more and more sunk costs. At some
Yeah.
point, like this is a business decision to say we got to pull the plug. So that's where I think like Candy Digital coming in and being like, hey, there's some certain things that we can maybe help uh, improve visibility, improve functionality, and to where like maybe these things can change hands again some more. That would be great. But I don't blame anyone who right now, and especially after that physical merch debacle, is like, I feel like they don't care about this project anymore. So what's the purpose? And for me, it's like it's part of the. This gets to be nostalgia now, man. Like I love that. I love being part of the space. I love Matt Mason and getting to interview him when he originally was part of that team before he left to Broadside and stuff. So I'll probably keep these, like unless they pump it or something, then I might sell a couple. But there's one that I'm keeping forever. Like I love it so much, and it was my PFP for quite some time. But it's not looking good. It's not looking good for the back house. I'll tell you that
Yeah.
much.
They had a space going before I came on here. They're done now, but yeah, there's still people that are a little active and have their own little community, which is still cool. So I hope they keep that up. I hope there's like this rumor like every 10 years that Disney will buy DC. I don't think that'll happen. That would be wild if it did though. They have been kind of accumulating and like they bought the rest of Hulu, and they think they're still in the running for WWE. I think it was either them or Apple, but people would have had to pay for Apple TV, and like no one was going to do that. So, but they were going to do it and then get stream WWE on ABC Family because nobody's going to want to pay for Disney Plus just for WWE. Um, but yeah, what I mean, DC's always been, at least the last like 10, 15 years, kind of been in trouble. They've been bought and sold a couple times. Um, it doesn't seem like things are getting any better. The first couple of movies from the DC extended universe with James Gunn haven't really hit that well. Superhero movies in general haven't done well this last couple of years. But any advice for them on what to do moving forward?
The problem is that they are so, and we're even seeing this with Vivi, right? Like they're so what's the word? They're all over the place. Like with Marvel, right? They can take everything and it's one head that's making all of the decisions. But I feel like DC is like there's so many like it's fractured or like there's so many different pieces that have different authority that it's tough to make the calls to have like one person to kind of say, hey, this is the direction we want to take everything, right? So when I'm looking at Marvel, as all of these movies are building up, right, to Avengers Endgame, right, and now we're gonna see like the Secret Wars, and like it all makes sense. Whereas like you'll get like a Batman one, right, and then you'll get like a Superman one, and maybe like a Batman Superman, but like it's disconjointed, like um, it doesn't flow. And
Yeah,
and so I think that they need to bring it all under one umbrella and have one person kind of at the head, kind of leading things. And if they can do that, right, um, then I think that they can get a direction and go with it because there's a lot of promise and there's a lot of value in that IP. People love Batman, people love Superman, people love the Flash and Wonder Woman, and even Aquaman. And so but are people also at the same time right now maybe superheroed out like a little bit? Like, yeah, like this has been going for how long now? 10 years or something of superhero movies.
like
And
15.
maybe
Iron
they,
Man was 08.
man, that's a long time. And so, and maybe it's time to get some fresh characters in there. Like we're starting to see, right, the new Avengers or Miles Morales. That was fun.
Golly.
That was fun watching Miles Morales. And dude, I do not like watching cartoon movies or animated like that. I have a tough time with that. I do like. I
Really?
mean, if it's like a Disney thing, but like, so I when I first started watching like Into the Spider Verse, is that the first one?
Yeah.
Um, I was kind of like I don't know, but I was drawn in. I was drawn in by the character and the storyline. I loved it, and so maybe it's time for some new characters and some fresh storylines to kind of just revamp things. Uh, but yeah, there's a lot that they have to fix there.
There's so I'm surprised. I don't really know a ton of media that you really like, but there's the animated stuff. Some of it is really, really good. And I'm not even talking about just like superhero stuff. I mean, there's that as well. But I'm talking like Rick and Morty. I really like something a little more serious, like BoJack Horseman is one of my favorite animated shows of all time. I'm like rewatching it now for like the sixth time. Take a look at BoJack Horseman, not the crypto. I mean, you can with the crypto too. I'm working on that, and that's fun. But take a look at that on Netflix. If you don't like it after one episode, don't watch it. But I,
BoJack Horseman.
yeah, on Netflix, it is
Okay,
so good. It is.
okay,
I absolutely love it.
okay.
Yeah,
I'll check it out for sure.
sweet. Um, it is
Um,
not for kids though.
to Harris's point here, so go back. Yeah, um, it was kind of a disappointment. You know, there was just like, oh, there's this one person who's going to talk, on this space, and they're doing this thing, and um, I had never gotten into this. Oh, I did one time. Like they have these puzzles and stuff in the Discord that people are trying to solve, and that can be fun. And I think that is great. That is something that's pretty unique. Like these puzzles that they try to solve as part of like the um what do they call that? And it's been a little while. GDCK, but I Gotham District something Knights. So Harris, you'll have to tell me. I can't remember what that stands for, but and Harley Quinn is in there. So like, there's some kind of fun puzzles that the community works together to try to solve, and I think that's great. But yeah, being like, oh, this person is going to talk in spaces as like the 52-day utility. I'm like. Yeah, Gotham City Dark Knights, but I don't remember what that stands for. Gotham City something night
The
District
Batcow
Knights.
thing.
District Knights. That's
Oh,
a Batcal thing. Yeah. Um, so yeah, it was pretty disappointing there, and it was a day late. And look, Harris, to give them like I do with VV, like I will say I'll give them some leeway in that. I'll bet you this move over to Candy Digital is a big a big lift as they're trying, like there's a lot that they're trying to work on in the background to get that all done. So I think a lot of their focus is on that. So I will give them a little bit of leeway. um, and again, like I've loved the utility that I've gotten so far for my cows. So like I feel at some point it's like, unless they can continue to get money to fund this operation, I don't know how can they continue to put money into this and not get it back. Like I have to be realistic about that.
uh, Taco Brick says the Miles Morales rookie NFT is on VV, and he's
Dude, I
actually
did not
really
get a
cheap right now.
Miles. I didn't even get that drop. I tried and I was not selected, and I was so bummed.
Same.
So
He's really
bummed.
cheap. He's $7,500 right now for the secret rare, which usually he's around five figures. So now you get a nice discount.
Yeah.
Um, I mean,
There's
I
too many
still
crypto
too rich for
projects
my
right now
blood,
that
but
are too low. I can't. I look at some of those things and I'm like, I'll get those at some point, but right now, $7,500. There's projects right now that I could put that into that, you know, potentially could do a 2 to 3x in a week or 3 months, or that I just can't. I don't see Miles Morales doing that type of jump as quickly. So I've just gotta bide my time. But that is definitely one that Miles Morales SR is. I mean, all of them actually are super cool.
yeah. No, I feel you. I have no, I don't have any of the Miles. I have a couple of Spider-Man, not secret rares. Just the other variants of him, like what's the one where the Zombie Hunter Spider-Man? That's
Mm,
pretty fun.
yeah, that
I
is a
like it.
good one.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, that would be about it. I think we are pretty much done here. Is there anything else you wanted to go over before we bounce?
No, Randy, I appreciate you holding like doing the stream and having me on so that I could kind of process those emotions in real time. I am so glad to know that that was just a texturing issue and that was not something that had happened. My goodness, I'm so glad. And yeah, hey, VB fam, everyone, if you obviously haven't liked Randy's channel or subscribed, please do. This guy, I don't know, a single person who works harder in trying to bring you guys news and talk about everything. Like, and the fact that you can go live so quickly is so impressive. And it's great for a lot of people who are just like, they're not tied into the community and there's not a Twitter space going and they'd be like, hey, Randy is someone who's probably going to be talking about this, if not now, within the next like hour or two or something like that. And so I appreciate you, Randy. And so if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. In fact, let me see something. I'm going to call you guys out here. Uh, there are over 74 watching. At one point, there was over 100 and something.
That
There's
was
only 46
124 at one
likes.
point.
So smash that like button if you guys haven't already. It doesn't cost you anything, and it does help Randy. The algorithm put his videos out more, so more people can get exposed to that content. But appreciate you, fam, and thanks for bearing with me as I process those emotions.
Thanks, man. Oh, thanks, Taco Break. There was what you were saying before about having one director and one vision. This is why I think Star Wars did so well. Obviously, the original trilogy, yeah, George Lucas. Then you had the prequels, which at the time people didn't really like, but it had a cohesive story because it had one person with one direction they wanted to go. And then the directors for like the most recent three, the sequels, I did not like them. I mean, I like the first one. I like the Force Awakens, and then they just kind of went off the rails, and because they didn't have the same directors for each one, they didn't have the same writers and stuff. And I feel like if you just have one person doing it, like you said, that'd be really good. They are rebooting X-Men, and they are doing um, they're gonna address that in Deadpool. You didn't watch Loki, did you?
I am halfway. In fact, right before the stream, that's what I was about to watch. I'm on like the middle of episode 4 of Loki, so I will
It's
be
really,
going to
yeah.
watch that
So
before I go to bed to decompress some more.
it gets really good. It's yeah. The first episode or two might have been a little slow, but I really like where this has gone. I like where it went. Um, but in the Deadpool movie, they're going to address the X-Men. So there's a comic book called Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, and they're doing a version of that in Deadpool 3 called Deadpool Kills like the Fox Marvel Universe. And then they'll kill all those people. Like, so him and Wolverine, doing whatever. I can't wait to see those fights because they both have that healing factor. They'll both be able to heal forever, so that'll be really fun. It's gonna be great. They have.
I Go ahead.
I would say they have some of his squad that we have on the VV app. They have Dogpool. They don't have Lady Deadpool. They are not going to have, or they might have Kidpool. We don't have Kidpool. They might have Headpool. We don't have that. We do have Zombie Deadpool. So they're combining a bunch of those stuff, and I really hope that Taylor Swift is Lady Deadpool. She's probably not. She's probably Dazzler, but I can hope. I can dream. Sorry, what were you
Dude,
saying?
I mean, T Swift, man, I think she's Dazzler. I think she is. I
Yeah,
mean, there's no reason for her to be walking around with both Hugh Jackman and Ryan. I just blanked that on his name.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan
Reynolds.
Reynolds.
Yeah,
Man, I love Ryan Reynolds like so much. I love him so much. I'm excited. Like, just his humor, I love it, and so he's perfect for Deadpool, honestly. And Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. Like there is no other Wolverine, and so to see them in this movie together, I'm pumped to see. Like it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to think. But I agree that they do need to do. Look, Doctor Strange. I mean, they can make people look pretty young. Like there's a lot of cinematography tricks, but look, you may be right, but I mean sometimes it's just the name, And when you have like Taylor Swift, like a freaking billion fans, and she's in a movie, good night. I mean,
Yeah.
it's gonna be like honestly. Here's my prediction for you: if Taylor Swift is Dazzler in that movie, it will. This movie will be one of the highest grossing movies of all time.
It's a big claim.
Yep. Yeah. And I'll stand by it. Look, you guys can mock me if I'm wrong, but honestly, Taylor Swift has so many fans across the world that they will watch it just because of her. And when you have that big of a fan base, it'll be crazy. It'll be crazy. So
That is a
yeah.
good point. I mean, I don't know what age she was introduced at, but eventually she goes on to, I think, West Coast Avengers. She goes on to work with Doctor Strange. She goes on to do a bunch of stuff. So they probably won't take like 16-year-old version Dazzler. They'll probably take like a mid-20s Dazzler or something that Taylor Swift could play. Um, but yeah, they're pretty crazy. People have been spending hundreds of dollars on those tickets that were already like used of the come watch the Eras tour, in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but those tickets like were already used. It's already past that date. But it's like a collector's item because they're physical and people are going
Yeah.
crazy on them.
Yeah.
Um,
Look, Doctor Strange says it's not going to generate more money than Endgame. Maybe not, but
no,
like I'm telling you, uh, I don't think I didn't even realize that like how popular Taylor Swift was until she started dating um, Travis
Travis
Kelsey.
Kelce.
Yeah, and just like the viewership of the NFL, like how like that skyrocketed just because she's dating an NFL player, and my goodness, man, like so we'll see. I could be wrong on that, but I think that she would draw such a crowd that there's no way that that doesn't just do extremely well just because she's in it and people will
Oh
pay
yeah, it'll make
that.
100 million. Like maybe not opening weekend, but it'll make that like the first like 10 days, first week. It'll probably do several, a couple 100 million. Uh, so Taco Bracelet was Baby Yoda 2019 Topps card. I did not know that was the first appearance Baby Yoda card. I do know that even like the first appearance Luke Skywalker cards from like the 70s, 80s, they just don't do that well. Or maybe I'm thinking of Batman. Oh, maybe I'm thinking wrong. I know the Batman cards from like 50, 60, however many years ago, those don't do that well. I'm not sure about the Star Wars ones, so don't quote me on that, what I just said. If it's the first of anything, it's likely going to be worth something. So I have to check. I'll go on eBay and I'll see. Chris.
I know. That's why I was chuckling a little bit earlier, is because I read that. This is what I'm talking about, guys. I'm telling you, like the fan base and the age of the fan base would surprise me as well. Like she's got a wide range of fan. Hold on, just a second. I just got to see like on Twitter what her followers are.
Oh,
Taylor
she's got
Swift,
like 80, 100 million, something like that.
94.8 million followers.
So much.
94.8 million. Okay, so if you take half of those, right, and half go see the movie opening night around the world,
And that's
like
just on
so
Twitter.
50 million first night at like a 15 $10 $15 movie ticket. I mean, it's $750 million.
And that's not including Instagram. She has 277 million followers on
Yeah,
Instagram.
like that's what I'm saying, man. Um, who
Yeah.
who knows? Who knows? Obviously, this is all speculation, but and it's fun to think about. But I just think the fact that she's hanging around Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, like that just doesn't happen. They don't just like randomly, you know, do that. Like I feel like that's kind of like a hint at it. So
Yeah.
I would put money on the fact that I think that she is tied to that film in some way, shape, or form, and it would
Yeah.
make sense that she'd be Dazzler. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I can't wait to see her.
yeah, we'll see, right? We'll see how they can change things, right? Like I mean, shoot, Jubilee freaking shoots sparkles, fireworks, and yet she actually like in the cartoon series, she was okay. I was kind of like, but she wasn't terrible, I guess. And I definitely think that Dazzler will be cooler. And if it's Taylor Swift, I guarantee it. Like they're gonna make her cool. So,
of course, I really hope they don't like troll, like in Deadpool 2, the invisible guy when he got electrocuted turned out to be Brad Pitt, and you see. I hope they don't show her on screen for like 1 second. I will be super salty if they do that. If they bring her in just to die.
That'd be so funny, actually. But no, there's no way. There's no way. They'd be missing such an opportunity. Now, I don't know how much it would cost. That's the thing that you got to think about. How much would they have to pay Taylor Swift, right?
Well, it's so she's friends with Blake Lively, and Blake Lively is married to Ryan Reynolds, and so they might just do like hey, do this for me, please, and I mean, Brad Pitt took like a cup of coffee, as payment for the thing in Deadpool 2. So I feel like Taylor Swift might be like, I don't need that much. I'm already a billionaire, I'm hoping.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see. But look, when she becomes Dazzler and it becomes one of the highest grossing movies of all time, I'm gonna record that clip and then I'm just gonna send it to Doctor Strange like once a month.
So we'll end it here. I do want to talk to you off camera for like a minute. Sure. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Tonight for my Jermaine Rogers. But I'll go. I don't. I feel like there's going to need to be more context there. Like I feel like that's not the only reason, but I'll address that with her, and I'll get back to y'all. Anyway, guys, please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. And thank you, Doc. Go subscribe to Dr. Stuff's channel and follow him on Twitter. Yeah.